Well, Chris, thank you for joining my, million subscriber podcast here at Raising the Grade. Thank you so much for coming on. Really
You're
appreciate
very
it.
welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so
This was fantastic. I'm so glad you asked me to do this.
it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So first thing I like to do, kind of with everybody, is just give me a little bit about you. How long you been in the Valley? Where you from? Where'd you grow up? Um, Give me
Okay.
who's Chris?
Okay.
Take me back a little. Let me learn who you are.
Okay. Yeah. I hail from Connecticut,
Okay.
Prospect, Connecticut, a little tiny town of about less than 10,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah. No high school.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. It's just a really small town, just a couple of elementary schools. And then we get, shipped off to another town. They're like,
Okay.
yeah, go to whatever high school you want.
Okay.
When
When
I've
did you
been
come?
out here for 27 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Came out here in 97 after I finished school.
What prompted
after
the
I finished
move?
College.
Why going from Connecticut to AZ?
My dad used to live out here. My dad was out
Okay.
here for a little bit more than 20 years. He came out here mid 90s.
Okay.
Before that, he was in California.
Okay.
His job moved him here. And then he had been here for maybe 4 or 5 years. And then once I finished college, I made the move.
Cool.
I used to come out here all the time. Now I come out here for holidays and things like that.
Right
And
when you wanted some sun.
then, right. Come
When
out
we-
here in the wintertime. Come out for some sun. And yeah,
What,
Just,
what do you know about the pizza in Connecticut?
made the jump.
Is it something
Pizza?
amazing?
That's another podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. See, I've got this guy that he lives in the same apartment complex as me, and he
Yeah.
gets all hopped up about the Connecticut pizza.
Oh
and I'm
yeah,
like,
people
really?
get defensive.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yeah, there's arguments,
I know.
you know?
I need to meet your the person in your building there. Yeah. It's considered the pizza capital of the world.
Wow.
New Haven, Connecticut.
Just throwing darts. Okay.
New Haven, Connecticut.
Yeah, that's what he says.
Pepe's Pizza, Sally's. In fact, one of my buddies the other day, just in fact, it was yesterday, or maybe it was this morning. But he sends me a picture of just the pizza box of Sally's.
Oh, how rude.
Yeah,
You call him a friend.
rude. He is a friend. He will. If I told him to ship it to me, he would ship it to me.
Wow. Okay, that's a good. That's your 3 a.m. buddy, huh?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Pepe's, Sally's, Modern.
Okay.
The pizza in Connecticut is very good. It's very close to, New York.
Anything out here hold a slight little flickering candle so far? Just curious, because
Like everyone says, you have to find those hole in the wall places. Like somebody's from Jersey, somebody's from
they're buying
the
special water to make
the
their
city,
dough
the
or
special
something.
water, and the water is actually true. It's a big deal.
Yeah. I know somebody in the coffee industry that would back that.
Yeah. So there are hole in the wall places here. Not even hole in the wall places. I mean, people swear by Pizzeria Bianco, which is
Mhm.
also fantastic.
I do like that
Costa
one.
Bianco.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's great.
Grimaldi's is good too.
Grimaldi's is good. But East Coast pizza, it's not Chicago pizza.
Fair. I was totally different.
I'll take
No.
East Coast, New York, Connecticut pizza over
Yeah.
Chicago any day.
I'm sorry, people.
Yeah.
I don't love Chicago pizza either.
Yeah. I mean,
So you get out.
Chicago's got its place.
You get out here and you finish up school and stuff. What do you start doing when you kind of land out here?
So I worked for one of our competitors. It's my first job
Okay.
when I moved out here. Worked there for 8 years.
What were you doing?
I was a branch manager for most of my time there.
Oh, so you jumped right into management.
Couple of different. Before that, I should back up. So really started. I was mid 20s.
Yeah.
Started in the warehouse. I knew I wanted to be there. Started in the
Mhm.
warehouse. Doing the whole
Yeah.
pulling orders thing.
I loved it.
Learned
Did
a lot
you
of different
enjoy
jobs.
warehouse work at that age?
At that age, yeah,
I freaking loved
it
it.
wasn't so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Except when you were that age, you thought you were invincible. You'd stay out all night, and then
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. Weird story, Chris.
You're
Yeah,
like-
no idea.
you're like, "Wow, the sun's coming up. I need to go to
No
work."
idea.
But warehouse work. You actually, anybody should, when they start at those type of companies,
Mm-hmm.
if you have a chance to start in the warehouse,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a terrible place to be. You
Mhm.
learn so much about
Mhm.
their business,
Mhm.
how things are done, how shipping is done, how the
Mhm.
store works,
Mhm.
things like that. You learn the materials simply by pulling them
Mhm. No, I love it. I think it's
for different orders. And
I
then
had
I
so much fun.
moved into management after that.
Did you go from warehouse to management, or was there like a counter position in the middle? I was at a
Well,
lumber yard, so
mhm.
I went load builder, counter, inside sales, outside sales.
Warehouse to management.
Okay, cool. And what did you? How long you did that for? 8 years.
8 years.
Okay, so
Yeah, I
you
managed multiple branches plus the distribution center.
how fun.
Yeah.
What were some of your favorite things about maybe that era?
Um, it's a really good question. I'd probably say really the relationships. The
Okay,
relationships I gained with
now we're getting somewhere.
the contractors.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day, I still talk to a lot of those contractors. And that was back, I started managing branches, I think, in 2000, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
99, 2000.
I've got some buddies that were my clients when I was an outside salesman that have gotten second and third homes out here, or their
Mhm.
kids going to school out here or something,
Mhm.
and I'll go do their backyard. So it's fun to kind of have that long-term relationship that really do become really good friends. So that's fun to hear that you've kind of had the same experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I'm friends with even some of the people that I used to work with there. So,
Cool.
I mean, it was all part of growing up.
Mm-hmm.
You're so young, and now we're in our,
Mhm. In those years.
in those years.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, just gaining those relationships was it was actually very important.
So you leave this company that's a
Mhm.
competitor to
Mhm.
where you're at now, which is Telluride, but owned by Site One, right?
Correct. So, Telluride Natural Stone and Reclaimed Wood. We're in North Phoenix. One location's in North Phoenix, and we are owned by Site One.
Mm-hmm.
Site One Landscape.
Did you go right from this other spot to Telluride? Have you been?
No,
was
I've
there
had a
some-
couple of other spots along
Okay,
the way
cool.
with other competitors, but yeah, this has been really the ultimate home
Cool.
that I found actually many years ago.
I love hearing that. What are some of the things that the company does that makes you feel maybe valued or maybe at home? Or because I mean, I know you.
Mhm.
I know your knowledge is insane. We'll
Right.
talk about hockey later. But I know you've got
Let's do it.
just no, we're not talking about hockey. I'm sorry. I'm not going to let you go on a monologue.
This is only a 1 hour podcast.
But tell me some of the things about, specifically Telluride that has made you kind of feel like, okay, I can work for these guys, because there's a backstory. I want to kind of glean these things as I started and grow a new company. Like, what are some of the hot button items to keep, in my opinion, top level talent?
So Telluride is, I think it's a little bit different than any other dealer in the Valley.
Okay.
A lot of the same, but a little bit different. We were much smaller than any other company in the Valley.
Mm-hmm.
But we cater to a very large market.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just the Phoenix market. We catered to northern Arizona, the Prescott's, the
Okay.
Sedonas, Flagstaff, things
Mhm.
like that. But Telluride is stone veneer, but
Okay.
we also sell much of what Site One is doing currently with the hardscape market. We also sell the travertine,
Okay.
the pavers, everything that goes with it.
Mm-hmm. All
We've-
the bag products.
Yeah, all the bag products, the
grouts,
mortars, the grouts. Yep, things like that. So even though a small company, once I came aboard, we grew, I think, exponentially because of my client base, customer
Mhm,
base,
mhm.
contractor base.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of forced them into that role of like, hey, we
Mhm.
need this, hey, we need that. And honestly, it was seamless.
Cool.
And on the flip side of that, I learned everything there is to know about stone veneer
Mm-hmm.
for exterior applications,
I'm excited to dig in.
interior applications,
Mhm.
things like that. So that was just an added bonus to what I already knew.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have that feather in my cap or that in my back pocket as far as the stone veneer, the claddings, things like that, caps,
So I'm
sills,
familiar.
everything.
Yeah, I'm familiar with like ledge stone, and then you have like stack stone, and then you have like individual stone. Are there some are there some pitfalls maybe you could warn anybody listening? Like, hey, watch out for this. Don't apply with this. Maybe I could see some people trying to use, like I don't know. It's not. I'm trying to think of what it is. Like some of the. I don't want to throw any big companies out of the name, but let's just say a glue adhesive. Instead of
Right.
maybe mortar or something. Like, are there anything you see guys doing? And you're like, no, guys.
Yeah. What we sell is not really typically DIY. You can DIY.
Yeah.
But take our advice. We have professionals that work there. This isn't, Home Depot has its place, but this isn't, a liquid nail.
That's what I was trying to say.
Liquid nail type application. You want to use the correct mortars and things like that. And contractors should too. I mean, contractors come in and they have their mason crews and things like that. And they've been doing masonry a long time and they want to do it a specific way. But products like that have evolved so much, and they evolve, I think, almost every year, maybe something like that. There's like a new mortar out every year.
Yep.
There's a new,
but like,
polymer or something like that.
Yeah, it's frustrating though too, because I think of like the Greeks and how well they figured out concrete, like their stuff's still standing, and I get we can't replicate all that, but do you think maybe like sometimes there's just like these, in my experience, I would sell to these old guys that they've been doing it the same way and it just worked and it took a little longer and it cost a little bit more, but in your experience, is that kind of similar?
If he's an old Italian mason from New Haven, he probably still does it that way.
There ain't no change in him.
Yeah, I mean, even materials themselves have evolved. I mean, everyone knows the stone panels that you can get from almost every dealer.
Yeah. Like ledge stone,
like ledge
pre-built
stone,
stuff with
ledge
faces
stone,
and corners,
stone panels, flats and corners. Those have their place, but what we see is a lot of clients coming in from builders or contractors or what have you.
Yeah.
And what they're looking for, honestly, is not those all the time. Those have their place. Maybe it's a water feature, maybe it's a feature wall, something like that. But once they come into our showroom and they see that we have more than just those stone panels,
their
they
eyes
really
light up
start
like a Christmas
looking
tree.
like, and they always pick the most expensive thing.
Of
right?
course. Yeah. And then you got to explain between the contractor and the builder. I'm like, Chris, what did you do? Like, I didn't bid this. What are we going to do here?
Sorry about that.
I know. It's okay though. I like it though too, because it's sometimes it's hard when you're in front of a customer to say, hey, this is going to be X. And the other three bids they got sitting in front of them weren't really creative, just did stack stone for everything. And it's like, well, why are you 10 grand higher? You know? And it's like, okay, hold on. There's a reason. Maybe go into some of the things that drive up the cost, because I know really well what it takes to install this and the time and the materials and just kind of the, if you want this to look good, it's going to take a minute.
I think it comes back to, if you want something done right, it usually costs a little bit more.
Okay.
I mean, you want to hire,
Can you say Chuck in the truck?
Not only.
Will you say Chuck in the truck?
Chuck in the truck.
Thank you. I think we've made it on every podcast so far. Because, this is a running theme of like, it's hard because a lot of the guys we're competing against are Chuck in a truck or Dan in a van. And it's like, that's, okay, maybe you're in your first home and you want to roll the dice a little bit. I mean, maybe, but.
And I think that's where you want to, qualify your client. If they're looking for Chuck in a truck, something like that might not be the job for you.
For sure.
Maybe it is, but maybe they just don't understand what you're offering.
Expectations and reality need to be on par. Yes.
Right. So when it's done the right way, the material is upgraded a little bit. I mean, those stone panels, like I said, they have their place. They're sold everywhere.
They really are.
They're just glued back stone panels. They're not great quality. But when you have dealers like us, and I'll get into our other partners and things like that, Arizona Stone and Solstice, things like that.
Okay.
The quality of the material is much higher than those Chinese stone panels, I call them. They really are from China. But when you get into actual stone veneer,
where is a lot of it coming stateside, or is it coming from overseas, or what are who are some big importers?
Both.
Like, where's it?
So we do have a lot of quarries here. We don't own the quarries.
That's fair.
We do have a lot of American material. A lot of American material.
Awesome.
From all the middle states, all the Missouris, the Oklahomas, the Texas, Colorado, and
they seem to have
and
cool
so on
rock.
and so forth. East Coast. And then we have imports too.
Okay.
Imports are typically, honestly, all over the map. I can't even name all the countries.
No, that's fun.
Yeah,
I'm excited to explore some of these.
Jerusalem,
honestly.
Portugal.
Yeah.
the Egypt.
I found it. Yeah, there's an
everywhere.
Egyptian limestone. Like I'm dying for somebody
There's
to
a
let
few
me
of those.
install that I think are gorgeous. Actually.
Yeah, there's a few of those, and I think you have. I think you've only seen probably maybe 2 or 3, though I have a few more that you need to see.
I would like that very much so.
Yeah. But going back to what we were saying, there's just to do it right. There is a price for that. Right. Chuck in the truck is always going to have his price.
Yeah.
I can install it for this price. It's like, there's people coming into our showrooms and our competitor showrooms. And when the client comes in, they're typically not looking at the cheapest material. They're super interested in the upgraded material. It may not be the most expensive material, but they are interested in the upgraded material. You know, they look at the stone panels and they're like, oh, I've seen those. Oh, is that what he was talking about? I've seen that everywhere. It's in every magazine, and my neighbor has it.
Yeah.
And everyone's seen that. So I would encourage you and every contractor to listen to their client. They're looking for specific material, or they're looking for an upgraded material. They're looking to have all these extravagant things. It's like, exactly, be different. Anybody can throw in, the 3-piece pavers, the 3-piece travertine, the stone panels, and they call it good because that's what their guys know how to do. They're so used to it.
Yeah.
They know how many pieces come in a box. Their labor guys are like robots. They know exactly what comes in a pallet. They know exactly what to expect when they get there. The good contractors, or maybe better contractors, more high-end contractors, they're thinking outside the box.
I think I've really been challenged so far at all 3. I'm 3 in, whoop-de-doo podcasts of just be different, design something different, throw a different material in there.
Absolutely.
Mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
How about a little bit of an elevation change? And I think when you, that's really cool. I think when you, just a bunch of big flock of birds, when you look at some of the big players here and in other markets, like where I was from or something, there was always a pretty heavy design element where it was night and day between kind of them and pretty much everybody else.
Right.
Or it was just, there's a couple folks where I was from where it was weird, but it was like they had just built a name for themselves and they did the exact same thing that we could do for like 4X. And I was like, that's weird. But no, I think on the design side, I've really been challenged. So this will be fun to kind of explore some of these with you. Yeah.
People are really coming into the showroom and they are absolutely looking at the upgraded material. I just think contractors need to just move the needle a little bit. Start getting outside of that.
Get uncomfortable.
Get uncomfortable,
a
right?
Little bit, yeah.
Right.
Learn something.
You'll be surprised
new.
at the results.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, you want to move the needle, right? You want to get outside the box. Start listening to client. And just offer the next thing. Get out of that Gen 1, right? Everything's been Gen 1 for the last 25 years here, whether it's just a 3-piece this or a 3-piece that in 3 different colors. And that's all a lot of contractors offer is like, my guys know how to install this. They know what all the colors are. They know how it goes together. And that's all we install. Well, maybe you should look for a different contractor then. If that, sometimes I hear horror stories of contractors wanting to choose the material or telling clients that like, oh, no, you don't want that. You want to install this right here because that's what their guys know how to install, but it's not what the client wants.
Yeah, for sure.
I've heard those stories.
That's so unfortunate, but kind of true,
Yeah, start moving to Gen 2, Gen 3.
This is great because you actually like almost verbatim were on track with with other guests. So I'm excited to see where this goes and how there's actually kind of a theme building unbeknownst to you or me, but it's kind of fun to hear. Tell me about some other things that, I mean, this big boy in the neighborhood now, Site One, they own Telluride now. They had Site One already, Pioneer, Solstice. I mean,
Arizona Stone.
Arizona Stone. I like their showrooms a lot too.
Cutting Edge.
Wow.
Cutting Edge Curbing and Sand.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have to have
Fantastic
such a long
company.
Conversation because
I love all of our partners. Honestly, the people that we've known them for years. They've been our competitors. You see them at events and things like that, and now we're all one team.
You wink and nod, and then all of a sudden,
you're rubbing shoulders, you're shaking hands, you're giving hugs now.
Tell me more about some of these companies and what maybe they'd offer. Because like the cutting one. What was that again?
Cutting Edge.
Cutting Edge. I've seen their trucks around a little bit.
Yep.
Tell me what they do, and then break into some of these other ones a little
bit.
They
are much like Pioneer, so they sell sand, rock, the gravel.
Do they do curbing?
All the colored. They do. I'll have to double check and get back with you on that.
But I'm check into.
I'm almost positive they do.
Cool.
All the different colored rocks. All the base materials for your pavers and other materials.
Okay.
River rock, things like that. They also sell pavers.
They got that really premium Mexican beach pebble.
Man,
that's
a good question.
Crazy. You guys have that? Who has that?
We do have that.
That stuff is so expensive.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
It comes bagged.
Can you tell me about it a little bit? Like, I feel like what makes it so expensive? Is it literally just getting? I've heard it's gotten picked. It's getting just picked by hand. Like what?
I've heard the same things.
What?
I've heard so many stories about Mexican beach bubble, from catching it in like big shrimp nets, like throwing the nets over the water, catching those, and they get cleaned off. They go to some polishing factory or polishing machine if you want them polished. And then they could do different things to them too.
But have we seen the video?
Black.
I feel like,
yeah. And I mean, there's different colors because of, I guess, whatever comes out of the ocean.
Yeah.
Right.
It's gonna be what it is.
There's multicolor, there's black, there's gray.
It's beautiful though. I do love it.
It's cool stuff. It is very expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you see people usually use those for are lining pots, lining beds, things like that.
Little accent, not the whole shooting match.
Right.
What about Solstice? I've only been here 3 years, but I don't think I've heard of Solstice.
So Solstice Stone, another one of our partners, also owned by Site One. They have a fantastic showroom. It's in Scottsdale.
Okay.
Greenway Hayden Loop and 77th Street, right on the corner.
Okay.
I would shout out the address, but I don't know the exact.
You didn't come with that memorized, address. Bro? Get out of here.
I'm just human. I'm just human.
That was great.
I'm just human Magellan. I just know how to drive places without using,
You're hired.
Directions. Solstice has a lot of stone and cladding you really won't find everywhere else. You won't find it in the Telluride showroom. You won't find it at Arizona Stone. You won't find it like most of our competitors.
77th and Hayden.
77th and Greenway Hayden. It is on the, what is that? The northeast corner.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
I want to check them out. Sounds fun.
Really cool showroom.
Okay.
There's a little old guy there named Bob that runs the showroom.
Okay.
Uncle Bob.
I love Uncle Bob's. Like they make stores. They make stores like what they are. There's a golf place over here that it's like Play It Again Golf, but excuse me, that's not it. It was Second Swing, I think. There's a Second Swing Golf over here. And I literally will go back there to see the guy that greeted me at the door because he was so awesome.
Our industry is about service.
So awesome. Yeah. I think everything should be way more about service than it is.
Right. You want to do business with, I suppose, memorable people. People that have
good word.
Memorable people that have helped you. Maybe they got you out of jam. Maybe they taught you something. Something like that.
Great word. I like that. Who are some memorable people that you've been involved with in the Valley?
Oh my gosh.
For good reasons.
See, we'd have to pause.
For good reasons. Is there there's a couple guys I'll never forget from my past that were, really cranky until you got to know them. And then it was really just a front and they were just really fun to be around. Or, maybe they really were just this, hat trick of knowledge. And you're like, where did you learn all this?
Right.
Or jack of all,
Right.
There's some old boys that really the last guy I worked with back in Oregon, man, he knew a little bit about everything.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Well, I think, man,
You're okay.
I think you've been in the industry as long as I have, and a lot of us have, that you rub shoulders with so many people. But
So Mark, Mark, my guy.
Mark, your guy?
You guys go back a minute, don't you?
We do. We go back probably 20 or
Couple
more
minutes?
years. Yeah.
Okay.
I remember Mark when he wasn't such a pain in the butt.
There was a time.
Probably not, but I was so new to meeting Mark, I didn't know how much of a pain in the butt he was. No, he's a good guy. Like deep down, Mark's a really good guy.
He's been a lot of fun.
He's a lot of fun to work with. He has fun. He's very generous. Like he comes in, if he has a shirt in his truck, he's
giving me 8 knives so far. I'm like, I can't.
That's what I mean.
There's
he comes
only
up with
so
the
many
weirdest
knives
stuff.
I can
like
wear.
Very giving.
Like a day. Like if I had 8 knives, people would be like, dude, you okay?
Right. Where'd you get 8 knives?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a long story.
Exactly.
No, but if he has like extra hats in his truck, he's like throwing
it.
them to our yard guys and things like that. He's just like a genuine guy that, he's been around a long time.
He's honest. He's willing to fight for whatever he thinks is right. And it really rubs off on you. It's been really neat to be just around him. Honestly, it's been refreshing.
I wouldn't say he was my inspiration.
There's a couple Mark incidences. Probably, he probably wouldn't like us to share for him, but I think it all stems from just kind of willing to go the extra mile for what he believes is right. I would just leave it at that.
I think it's, I think you always remember the people that either gave you your first shot or believed in you enough to.
Can we pause there?
Sure.
These first few customers that have done that have been amazing.
Yeah.
Like it's really impacted me in a really neat way. And I'm really excited to kind of like turn the corner on business and be able to kind of give back a lot.
Right.
It's been really impactful for people to just say, only because you're a new business, we're going to use you.
Right.
And it's like, what? Really? That's awesome.
Right.
So I totally, that resonates with me.
Yeah. I think it goes with, kind of everything in life, right? The way people treat you is, everyone expects to be treated a certain way. And when you work for somebody like that, whether it's a manager or a regional manager or something like that, you're always going to remember that person. You're going to follow what they say, things like that. So yeah, there's probably been a handful of people that, they either love
any mentors or anything for you that has anybody kind of been somebody you continually turn to for the what to do's in maybe the weird business scenario, or like oh crap, I really screwed up and this truckload of stuff's the wrong color, like, or whatever,
I don't think it's one singular person.
Okay.
I think I would lean on the persons, plural, that maybe have experience with that, or the most experience in the industry. Like I said, I've been around for so long, and a lot of my colleagues have been along just as long as I have, if not longer. I've actually worked with people. I'm working with people right now in Site 1 that I worked with in previous companies.
Wow.
Now we're one big family again.
Yeah, that's kind of fun.
So we're the same age. We grew up together in these couple different companies. And yeah, they'll either come to me advice on some things. Maybe they're asking about material, things like that. And, if I have things, sometimes I'll just call them like, hey, what do you think about this? So it's experience like that I think I lean on, not necessarily one person.
It's been so helpful. You're the guy that I text all the pictures to. Hey, what is this? Where do I get this?
Yeah.
What's the lead time on this?
Yeah, even if I don't have it,
you
I'm
ever
going to tell you where to go
before?
and get it.
And you're like, oh yeah, let me tell you the history on that. 7 years ago it was named this, and these 3 companies combined to buy this and bring this in. Now they call it this, but we're going to call it this.
Did I do that? I'm
Can
sorry.
I get it, Chris? Can I get the thing?
I'm apologizing for the next picture you send me.
No worries. Not going to happen. You'll be safe. You'll be very safe. So this is good. What are maybe some things that, I know it's new to be under Site 1, but Telluride, what are maybe some things that you've maybe seen already, or you have maybe been told, or you'd like to see, or just maybe some hopes for raising the grade within maybe Telluride, maybe Site 1, or maybe the industry. Like, this is you, open mic. Talk to me.
So I think it's something that I touched on before. Raising the grade is just really educating the contractor, educating their clients or any clients that come into our showrooms. There's not only things that you see at the home show available. Everybody wants to go to the home show.
Very fair.
And I know a lot of contractors they're after appointments when they go to the home show, right? And
we need them.
More power to them. Exactly. Exactly. More power to them.
Yeah.
But when you're showing your booth, I think that you're spending the money, right? So
yeah,
go out there, put your best foot forward, show the best material. It's harder. I think it's harder to go up. It's always easy to come down, right? It's always easy to come down and go back into the Gen 1, to get the job.
Yeah, never mind. We won't do that. Let's just do this. But I agree.
But sell yourself and sell the material. Maybe they haven't seen it. Chances are they haven't. But our showrooms are starting to show a lot of the upgraded material. The Gen 1 stuff is still there, but it's kind of getting pushed further and further towards the end of the display racks.
I gotta be honest. Like, well, I don't know. There's two sides to this. Like, I've done a couple of an unnamed pillow top jobs lately, and one of them was a 3-piece pattern, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Same pillow top paver, but we just did a 6x9 in a running bond pattern, and it just changed everything as opposed to just doing the normal. Yeah,
sometimes it's a simple design element,
and so I really like that. I'm a little bit more pleased with that job, but I'm definitely proud hearing you. Yeah, I know I did something different. Yay me! I should have done a different color border too. Then I would have been no, but
absolutely,
I'm feeling challenged, and so it's nice. I'm going to take this back to my designer. My sales guy, who's amazing and is really like, he was like wanting to learn about, building homes and everything else. I'm like, bro, let's just do this for now. And then we'll get into that. Cause it's something I think he wants to do. And I definitely want people to grow, even if that means they grow right on out of here, but I want to keep people growing.
When clients come in, what we hear them tell us is, my contractor sent me in here. He wants me to look at this.
That's gold. That is so gold. Keep going.
So he wants me to look at this. Fine. We'll look at that.
Okay. Defense though. We've priced it for X, and we maybe are thinking we're bidding against 6 guys. So keep going with that thought though. I want to stay here a minute.
So what we do is we absolutely show them
the thing,
what you want us to show them. They come in with a name of a paver or a color or a travertine or a stone or what have you. We will show them that. We don't want to go too far and move them out of the price range. If you told them you want them to come in and look at this, that's probably the price range that we think they need to stay in.
Concrete pavers.
So we're not going to show them a $20 this when you're selling them a $7 this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a lot of times they'll ask questions because what else is available? Like they're in this cool showroom.
Your showroom is a little too cool.
Right.
Sometimes
it's
they
really
don't
cool.
send people there for that reason.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like, if you don't buy anything, just go there. It's so cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, don't ask for Chris. No.
It's okay. He's not there anyways.
I'm working. No, but they'll come in and they'll be like, okay. And sometimes they will, because of what they see with their optics, and they're like, oh, well, what is this over here? And what is this over here? So before they go down a rabbit hole, we try to steer them and just at least stay where you told them that they needed to be. Yeah. But we'll say, okay, yes, this is available. This is this. It's an upgraded price. You talk to Eric about that. And then I'll make notes. So, and then I will usually email you, text you something like that. Hey, I met with Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Great movie, by the way.
Yes, it is good. It's a winner.
Met with Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Showed them this. They also looked at this, and here's the price for that. We usually don't give them the price.
I'm excited about that too, because I just want to do different stuff. Yeah. Like it is.
It can be very simple too.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be even just like the border detail or an inlay or a different,
just design details.
Completely different Just even on a media wall, you bump something out for the TV. That's just a little bit more block and a little bit more stucco. And maybe we just do a band at the bottom instead of the whole shooting match. And we have a shelf on it. Like there's so much to do on the design side. I will say it all does cost money, and the customers kind of got to be in on the design. Like I've had a couple people now that have come to me with some pretty cool designs. They're in on the design. Something close to that's probably happening. And that's cool. Kudos to the customer for being willing to kind of like go there, and kudos for the designers for kind of being willing to stretch things a little bit. I'm excited to do some things that are just different.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can make, you know, if a client has a Gen 1 budget, right? Standard pavers, standard what have you. The design can actually put a feather in your cap, make it look like a Gen 2 or Gen 3 product simply by tweaking.
Lacing in some 3x9s, like 2 feet in, or I mean anything.
Do a center circle. Do a contrasting border color, something like that. Yeah, just some contractors don't want to do that. They want their guys to get in, get out. They don't design anything. Yeah, I can install those pavers for you. Yeah, things like that. That's not you. That's not a lot of contractors.
Well, I hope you continue to challenge me too, because it's easy to be complacent as a human of like, okay, you know, you've got all these tasks to do and all these things. I mean, I guess specifically as a business owner, I think my designers are way more creative than me. I'm probably more guilty of having to make a conscious decision to do something. Okay, let's do something different, you know, or lean into the customer. What do you really want to see here? I've done that well on a couple lately, and it's really paying off. So I'll do more of it. But I would encourage anybody seeing this to just do it. You know, it's rare. Every once in a while you will lose a job because you were creative and said, oh, well, let's do this, you know, and they're like, nope, I told you to do this. You did not do it. You are out.
Right.
You know, and I get that to an extent, but it's like, maybe they're not your customer either. You know, I don't know if there's zero.
Yeah, it goes back to, you know, qualifying your client.
Fantastic. I'm always curious. I want to know more about pizza. I want to know more about
pizza.
New Haven pizza. Like, I mean, can it be that good?
It really is that good. Some of it is the experience, but honestly, the pizza. There's lots of pizza reviews. We've all seen them.
Level.
We've all seen them. Instagram.
The place here, Portnoy came through. Trevor's. Have you had Trevor's yet?
I've had Trevor's. Trevor's is very good.
Okay, I'm excited.
Trevor's is very good. He did come through. Portnoy came through and did Trevor's.
Did he do the other ones?
It was legit. I'm not sure which one he was at. I'm not sure if it was Scottsdale.
No, it was not.
Was he at McDowell?
It was up north.
It was up north.
It was up north, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Portnoy's obviously been all over the country.
Yeah. Has he done your places? Your Connecticut, New Haven places?
He said he says it's the best pizza in the world. He gives it, you know, rave reviews. And there's other places. I mean, East Coast pizza is not Chicago pizza. You know, everyone has their Rosati's and their Grimaldi's and things like that. And those things are good. And those pies are good too, but it's not New York crispy.
I really like
triangle.
Venezia's. It's not crispy, but it is
charred
thinner.
Bottom. Little flop.
So hungry right now.
I know. If Dave can hear this right now, he'd be like, "Who is this? Who is this guy?"
I got a competitor. Right. What are some unique offerings that that you guys have over there? I think I've got a couple in mind. I'll let you go first. What are some unique offerings?
Telluride.
Or things you do. It's like, oh, I didn't. Why do you do that? I didn't know you did that.
Right. So Telluride is one of the most unique places in the valley. We offer not only stone veneer and all the hardscape materials, but we also offer reclaimed wood. So we have reclaimed beams, reclaimed wood mantles. We have like 1x4 that you can use for siding or shiplap. Someone has like a craft wall that they want to do.
Yeah.
We can do tongue and groove. We can do shiplap.
And out here in AZ, so I'm from the Pacific Northwest, the PNW. Like if we're using that stuff, we're painting the heck out of it. But out here, like it's just going to get torn up if it's direct sunlight, right? Like
Yeah, it's like two different worlds.
Undercover, inside, or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
I mean the wood is
soffits probably.
The wood's reclaimed, so it's come from areas that get the harshest weather. Some of it's from Canada, some of it's from the Midwest and places around the states. But yeah, those type of places get weather, right?
I love reclaimed wood.
It is really cool. It is really cool to go in there. I won't lie. Sometimes we get in beams that just have some type of some personality, some horseshoe stuck to it that has some kind of stamp in it. I mean, it's really cool. We even had one that came with a ladder attached to it.
Love it.
They left the ladder on there and sent it to us because they thought we might want to either sell it like that.
Such creativity.
So I'm going to guess it was probably like a hay barn, something like that. Really cool stuff. But yeah, I'm sure each one has a story. We don't know exactly what it is, but we know those beams and mantles and things like that. And even the reclaimed flatboard is or barn board is probably, we hear stories of like 130 to 150 years old, something like that.
Yeah, coming from the lumber business, I remember just how crazy it was to see old growth stuff versus new growth stuff. Like the new growth rings are like this big and the old growth stuff is like an 1/8 inch, and it's like impermeable. Like it's hard to stain because it was so dense and it was so, just grew so much slower. It wasn't just ripping like it is now.
Right. Yeah. I think the whole reclaimed industry is, I think it's a trend.
Sure.
We have a lot of designers and builders and their clients. They come in, everybody wants a mantle. Mantles, they're inexpensive, but it is, it's a nice trendy item to have in your house for a few $100, something like that.
I love me a good mantle.
Yeah. Our shop on the premises in Deer Valley has the ability to cut it to size.
Okay.
We can cut it. We can cut it to size if needed.
Can you cut any other things? Like, do you get big slabs of, I don't know, flagstone or anything? And like, do you chop it up for people for any reason?
We do custom caps. Yeah.
Okay.
We do custom caps of flagstone, limestone.
Okay.
Custom sizes. We do also stock sizes like the 24 by 24s, 12 by 24s.
What would be some custom sizes, and who would get into that? Like 3 by 12s for, like, my mind's racing. I'm already seeing like some cool way to get somewhere instead of the norm. Like,
so we do sills that are typically 3-inch tall, 3-inch wide by random lengths. So sometimes they're like 12 or 16 or 18. So like a custom home builder would build a house, right? And then you have your window sills. A lot of time they are stone window sills, and not necessarily the veneer stone, but it is the sills that we cut.
Yep.
And like I said, we have flagstones of many different colors, limestones of many different colors. We can do custom caps, so you can build, pillars, columns, things like that, and we can cut a cap to fit.
Okay. How big are these limestones that you're talking about? Because like I think of limestone, I think of the pre-fab stuff that's in the 3-piece pattern or whatever. But like, what are some of the like how do these come in? Do they come in on a rail car, a big semi?
Our slab, like our caps, right? Those will come in on big slabs.
Okay.
So they'll come in somewhere around, I want to say they are 24 by 48. And then I think we actually have 24 by 60s.
Wow.
Just big slabs.
Okay.
And then the guys will take them in the shop, and we have so many saws in the shop. I think we have 11 saws, something like that. All different kinds. Yeah, we have snap machines. We have guillotines, bridge saws. We have a lot of saws.
Never heard of a bridge saw. Can you describe a bridge saw to me?
I've
never heard
bridge
of
saw.
that.
It's the coolest machine.
You don't want to get near.
No, it's actually mesmerizing
Bridge
to the
saw.
point where you.
Okay, I'm coming over. You're going to show me this stuff.
Really?
I would love it.
All right. Yeah, you gonna come over?
I absolutely want to see this stuff.
We gonna ride bikes?
No, I'm not kidding. Okay, maybe. Yeah, get a hot dog and some ice cream. Skip down the center aisle or something. No, I will say I went somewhere else and I was blown away at what was actually going on at the facility. And so I'd love to come by and really see a little bit more of just what all you guys can do.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, just let me know when you want to come by, and we'll suit you up in a safety vest and
Yes, OSHA first.
yeah, some hard hat, and then we can. Yeah, we are very Site One is very safety
You
oriented.
gotta be, man.
Like
They're out to get you.
So just be prepared if you come to our showroom, especially Telluride, since it's a working yard.
Yep.
That you'll be required to wear at least a safety vest, and you need closed-toed shoes.
Yep.
We can go look at the beams. We can go look at all of the raw material that's in the yard that we make stone veneer out of.
Mm-hmm.
Those come in solid, like pills, like just large rectangles, probably sometime in 3 foot, something like that.
How fun! I'm excited for my adventure.
It's really cool to see where the stuff comes from.
Went to a lumber mill back home, and it's fascinating.
I like seeing where pizza comes from.
Right, I know. That's it. I think that's a vendor sponsored trip. So once I spend enough with you, we can go back to Connecticut and hit the pizza spots.
We can do that. You can use your Site One points.
Oh yeah, tell me more.
Right. So when you have an account with Site One, it's called a partner's account.
Okay.
Everything you buy goes into points. It's almost like a credit card. You get all these points, and then you can redeem them.
I love this.
I think it's at the end of the year, something like that. So maybe we could, garner a trip and head to New Haven. Yeah, because those New Haven pizza places
to New Haven can't be insane.
They're right downtown by Yale. So it's a cool walk around.
Is it close to the airport?
It's not close to the airport.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It's close to the water. It's not far from the beaches.
Fair enough. What are some things that you would like to see maybe change in the industry, or
I love the industry. I've been doing it for so long and have seen it evolve. I mean, I think I've been here before travertine was even available in the valley.
Weren't you talking about pavers at like $1.50 a foot or something?
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't that long ago. This is all like pre-COVID, right?
Yeah. What?
Pre-COVID, maybe a few years before COVID. Probably less than 10 years ago.
Wow.
The pavers were, I don't know, $1.25, $1.50, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, contractors would just,
this market.
I don't know how to explain it. This person has it for this quarter. This person has it for a quarter more. And it was just
war zone.
Yeah. A little advice: don't sell jobs by the square foot.
Oh yeah, tell me more about this. You're probably the third person I've encountered that is on this. That's kind of like, hey, hold on, what are you doing here?
Sell your job as a whole.
Okay.
Don't sell by the square foot. I mean, I've seen it. I've run the booths at the home show, and people want to come by and kick the tires and like, what's your square foot price?
First question, always.
First question, always. Yep. We don't install by the square foot.
Okay.
Or we don't install, number one. We're a dealer. But I see it. I walk around the other contractors' booths, people coming up, kicking the tires. A lot of times you see the same person walking around. What's your square foot price? Oh, no, it's too expensive. And then they walk away. It's like, how do you know what's too expensive? It's like, what are you asking him to do?
Yeah.
Is it just pavers? Which paver? I mean, it's
expectations.
Sell your job as a whole. You don't need to put your square foot price in. Here's my paver price. I installed at this square foot. You don't need to do that.
I like it. I think
sell your job as a whole.
I think I'm gonna start kind of picking your brain some more, and a couple of these other folks that were kind of.
Yeah, I mean, you can sell them a good, better, best. Like we can use this travertine, do the design, and it's this price, and so on and so forth. You have a good, a better, and a best.
And then, and not to put you on the spot, but I mean, I have questions because I guess I design, so I could show them a design and say, "Hey, we're gonna do this," you know what I mean. They could probably do the math or go backwards or something and say, oh, it's a 16 by 16 patio. Like, I feel like I've got to be pretty clear about what I'm doing too, so we don't get into the, oh, well, your drawing says you're doing this. I'm like, well, no, it's going to be a 16 by 16. And they're like, oh, it looks like it goes all.
I don't think clients ever really understand the whole realm of construction, because with pavers, it's not just a paver. your base materials
Mm-hmm.
involved, your labor's involved,
Mm-hmm.
your license,
Yeah.
you have, your overhead, you have your trucks and people and insurance and
Building and lights and phones and gas and
yes,
all the things it takes to get there and bid the job. And
yes.
somebody, I mean, it's a
And
business.
Chuck in the truck is out there
They're
buying
making wages,
buying
and they're making
the
good
cheapest thing.
wages,
Yeah.
but you have no safeguards if you're that customer buying that thing from that person, because I think the number one thing that I don't think people understand is they think the license, bond, and insurance is for me. It's not. Yes, it'll help me, but it's for them.
All right, protects them.
It protects them. The same
Mhm.
with honestly, like even a right to lien goes both ways,
Mhm.
because now you've got a serious contractor that you're seriously getting into a serious agreement with. Monday, I don't know when these will air and what the order is, but Monday I start a job for a guy that got sideways with a chuck in a truck.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart. I can't do it for free, but we're definitely helping him out. But it's still really frustrating. And it's really a hard barrier to overcome. Like think of twice, once bitten, twice shy, right? Once anybody's encountered that scenario, it's so much harder as a reliable contractor you've got to really win them over. It's
You need to sell yourself. You need to sell yourself.
but more so
Sell your
than
company.
yeah, more so than just everybody else. Once somebody's been burned, oh man, it's hard to even, I feel like, even get them to hire you. And it's not just, I will say, it's not just Chuck in the truck. I've seen it from bigger companies too, where there's some really uh questionable back and forth scenarios where I probably should have sided with the customer on that one.
Right.
So we at Rising Tide Landscapes aim to just not do that, not be that way. Yeah, I think we're kind of getting towards the tail end of this thing, and so I like to throw you the ball and just say, is there anything you want to ask me or know about me or my company or anything? I know we've had a few great interactions
Yeah.
on the golf course, and then just working together last year in different, wearing different.
Well, you're off
hats
the
or
clock
something.
on the golf course.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a Saturday, it was a Saturday for sure.
So prior to you and I meeting,
Mm-hmm.
what did you do prior to this? And
Okay.
where were you? I know you're from Pacific Northwest. So what did you do before I had met you at your previous employment?
Sure. Elevator speech, right? So 16-ish, worked at a pipe fitting yard for like in the farm industry, pressing aluminum fittings and the couplers and the sprinkler heads on. Lumber yard, just a load builder, counter sales, inside sales, outside sales. Did that for 14 years. Fun story about a good company that will hook you and kind of maybe like, I'm working for that company.
Right.
There's two competing lumber yards in the little town I was in, right? And it was growing. And the one lumber yard was kind of ratty and didn't pay a whole lot. And the other lumber yards where you kind of wanted to get to, and so I went over there one day in like my ratty clothes, and they were like, oh, we want to hire this kid. I'm like, I love the pay scale, but there's one weird thing. I'm going to have a kid and I need insurance. So I don't think I can work for you. I'm sorry. And he's like, hold on. Let me make a call. It was 6 months to get insurance there. And he made a call and paid for my insurance for 6 months so that I would come over right then. And that meant a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting. Earlier, I know we were touching on that. So that was the lumber yard. Right. Great company, family owned. I aspire to be as big and as healthy as they are at some point. And then one of my buddies back there that was a customer of mine said, hey, come on out, come over to the dark side, start selling, start building. I'm like, no way. And then he kind of had a nice carrot and was like, hey, we'll do a good thing. So I started doing kitchens and baths and roofs, decks. And, one of the funner ones is I popped the top off a 2-story house and redid it and put it back on.
Wow.
Along with, some people that, trusted me to keep coming back to their place. One place I did the kitchen, then I did the bathroom and stuff. So it was fun. But when we moved here. So COVID happens, right? COVID's about when we were like, we're out of Oregon, right?
It's funny how everyone's timeline either
something
is prior or
something to do with COVID. Yeah. So COVID hits and Oregon gets really weird, and Arizona looks a lot more like America to me. And so I'm like, let's go, guys. We can come back if we have to, but we've really settled in here. I started looking at like home builders and stuff out here,
Mhm.
and it just wasn't the same because it was so nice to know I had my buddy that I worked with in my corner,
Mhm.
and I could ask him anything, and I knew the team he had built, and they were solid. And as a matter of fact, I kind of had my own crew within his company, and my lead was just awesome.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, this is great. So I didn't think I was going to get that here. So I looked all over the ads and stuff, and there was this company, this unnamed multi-state company, that was promising the world. I'm like, well, let's try it out. Let's see if it was real. Kind of was real, but it was like, once I got into the weeds, I'm like, I'm not selling this. No way. So I looked for another job. So it was in turf. It was in kind of landscapes and stuff. It was easy enough, and the money was good enough that I could make a living, And then with my past experience, it was kind of a breeze. And then I just kind of kept growing in that and going, I kind of like this. This is actually fun. And then I kept working for companies that did a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, until I was finally here going, I'm going to do this on my own.
Nice. And you have a son?
I have a son. Did you meet him today? No,
I
you
have
knew I
I
ran
have
around
not
with
met
him.
him
Yeah, I
today.
did not see you with him. So I have 3 kids. So
Okay.
my oldest is 23. My boy Cohen is 19. He's on the team.
Right.
And then my youngest is 15. So we're not messing around.
It's a family affair.
It is a family affair.
family
Yeah,
affair.
my hope is to grow it well enough to where I can kind of lure my daughter and son-in-law back over here. No, I don't really care, but I love where
He
they're
couldn't
at.
say hand off. He had to say lure.
Yeah, I know. I know. Or hand off. Yeah. Well, this is fun. I've been reading a couple books lately and trying to grow a little bit, and
Mhm.
I'm kind of a control freak, but this has been good for me because I decided to just listen to the guys that have made billions of dollars, and I'm like, okay, what do they got to say? And one of the big things is like, task people, trust them, and see where that gets
I
you.
bet none of them have had a landscape company.
I know. I'm gonna look at that. I don't think so. Yeah, they're in like SaaS and stuff. No, but I mean, I don't know. It's been really good for me actually to just say, okay, this is your baby.
Mhm.
Figure it out, and then
Yeah.
come show me what you did. Within reason. Like I've still got my hands in there, but I am slowly like getting better at like. I think the thing I'm getting better at is writing appropriate tasks and being
Right.
like, hey, here's what we want to see when we're all done. From here to there, I don't know. Maybe you might have to make an extra trip for a pallet of papers or something. That's on you. But here's what we want to end up with. And then we can go back and we can work on this stuff as long as this outcome is where we want it.
One thing I wanted to say, and you and I touched on this before, was education.
Yes.
It's free, right?
Yeah.
So some of these manufacturers will put on their own educational day, right? I think it'd be very wise for all contractors, like send a guy, 2 guys, 3 guys, whatever it is, go to these things, learn a little bit. I mean, that will help you move out of the rut of selling all the Gen 1 stuff. There's really cool stuff. I mean,
amen.
There's some
so
really
much
cool
stuff
stuff
out there.
to see. I mean, all the manufacturers are making some pretty cool stuff. Ask them about it. Tell them you want to see it. I know Belgard does their Belgard University and other training days throughout the year, and they have their solution center over here in Tempe.
I love it.
So,
and
those are things
they welcome you there.
They do. All these contractors around the valley, including yourself, should be taking advantage of those things. Honestly, number one, it's a day away from work. Not really.
Well, it's not.
It's not really. But it is.
It's money well spent.
It's interactive. I mean, it's learning right off the bat.
Contractors don't do it because it costs money. They're not. The guys aren't. They're not making money, and they're in here, so it's almost a double whammy. But it is worth it. When I've gone to these,
it is worth it.
So, by the way, sign me up. I'm in for all of them. But when I've gone to these, the people I see there, they tend to be at the top of the game. So it's almost like, and I remember when I used to do,
Mm-hmm.
I used to put on CEU, continuing education credit classes or whatever, in Oregon, because the contractors there would need so many of them, and I would do those at the lumber yard,
Yeah.
and it was always the top dogs that showed up. So
Yeah.
on that note, it's kind of like swim with the big fish, sort of. Like the guys that are going to these classes tend to be there because they want to be on the cutting edge.
Right.
So I'm in. I support you.
Yeah.
I
I
think you're
mean,
dead nuts on it right there.
I mean, we're there, right? We're there as a company. We'll send Site One. We'll send whoever we choose. It could be 5 people, it could be 10 people, it could be 2 people, something like that. But yeah, usually the dealers will send a handful of people, and I think there's more dealers than there are contractors. I would love to see contractors go to so many of these, because then I get questions asked to me like, "Hey, remember that paper that we saw
Yep.
down there that's this or that? It's like,
Mhm.
can you get me a cost on that, and
Mhm.
let me know the lead time?" And it just
Mhm.
sparks other conversations into different materials other than Gen 1. Gen 1 will always have its place.
Mhm.
All right. But now, I mean, some of these manufacturers have gone like well beyond Gen 1
Mhm.
to, instead of the dollar product, now it's the $5 product, and it's selling. It's not like that's a once in a time, once a year, twice a year type job. It's like, no, those
Mhm.
jobs are selling
Mhm.
quickly.
Mhm. So let's I'll kind of land the plane here a little bit, because I think this is a full circle,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much just kind of like summing up everything you said, and kind of
Mm-hmm.
like a real world application, and kind of
Mm-hmm.
all the partners we've talked about. So
Mm-hmm.
I went and looked at redoing an outdoor area
Mm-hmm.
for a vendor today with a vendor's rep. And because I've gone to a couple classes with this vendor's rep,
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Oh, why don't we do this art forms for this planter here?" And he's like, "That's a great idea." And we were both like, "Hey, yeah, that's
So
fun."
cool.
So it's gonna be, it's what happens is you just start thinking in a different kind of wavelength of like, "Oh, what if we did Melville wall this high and then capped it with this?" And it's just, I do encourage people to get the creative juices flowing. It's going to cost the customer a bit more. I bet you the customer's happy. My happiest customers have been ones that were willing to try a new pattern, had an intricate design of their own, or kind of gave us a little bit of carte blanche and said, "We trust you."
Yeah. And honestly, some of those materials coming from those educational classes and training days, things like that. Like I said, moving out of Gen 1 to Gen 2,
Mm-hmm.
there's not like this large gap of pricing, right?
And if I'm being honest, I mean, I feel like, and this is just me, maybe this is everybody. I don't know. I'm new enough that I might not know what I don't know. I probably don't know what I don't know, but I'm willing to meet in the middle on
Mm-hmm.
some costs for some things, because I know how it's going to show on my socials and how it's going to show on my portfolio and
Sure.
my website. It's not going to look like everybody else's, like I don't
Sure. Yeah.
want to. So that would be my encouragement to anybody listening, friend or foe. I think it helps everybody in the industry
Yeah.
if we just kind of, step it up a little bit,
Step up the design.
if I may raise the grade.
Raise the grade. Raise the grade.
Well, Chris, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
I think we're gonna wrap. This was fun, and it just continues to be fun, and I'm so excited about just what's the talent that's really
Mm-hmm.
in the valley, and other folks that are also willing to really raise the grade. And I will say, I'll plug you and Site One, and for sure Telluride, but really you. I mean, you, unfortunately, hopefully you just don't get slammed after this, but I've always just sent you a picture of like, what the heck is this? And you're like, "Oh, it's this. You can get it here. Here's the lead time. Here's the price." And it's insane, because I deal with a lot of people, and so I hope no one's feelings are hurt. But I just haven't had the same experience of like, "Yep, know what that is," with anybody else. So thank you for taking time in the evening away from everybody you know and love to come out here and do this.
Sure. Absolutely. Thanks for having me. And yeah, if you want to talk about pizza, Let's go golfing and talk about pizza.
I want to talk about
we can
it
do
there.
that. Yeah, let's
We're
do
going there. I'm going to drag my buddy there
Let's do that.
who you'll like. It'll be a lot of fun. Well, thank you, sir.
All right. You're very welcome.
All right.
Thanks
have a
for
good
having
night.
me.